are just gonna try to solve, in my opinion, the hardest problem in AI right now. To me, AGI will not be complete without spatial intelligence, and I want to solve that problem. And that involves creating world models that goes beyond flat pixels, world models that goes beyond language, world model that truly capture the 3D structure and the spatial intelligence of the world. And the luckiest thing in my life is no matter how old I am, I always get to work with the best young people. So I founded a company with 3 incredible young but world-class technologists, Justin Johnson, Ben Mildenhall, and Christoph Lassner. We are just gonna try to solve, in my opinion, the hardest problem in AI right now.
Which is incredible talent. I mean, Chris, he was the creator of Pulsar, which was the initial seed before Gaussian splats. There's Justin Johnson, your former student, who really has this super system engineering mind that got real-time neural style transfer. And you got Ben, who was the author of Nerf paper.
Yeah.
So this is a super crack team. And you need such a crack team because we were chatting a bit about that vision is actually harder than LLMs to some extent. Maybe this is a controversial thing to say because LLMs are basically 1D, right? But you're talking about understanding a lot of the 3D structures. Why is this so hard? And it's still like behind language research.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate, Diana, you empathize how hard our problem is. It's 4D, but let's just confine ourselves within space. It's fundamentally 3D. So that by itself is a much more combinatorially harder problem. Second, the sensing, the reception of the visual world is a projection. Whether it's your eye, your retina, or a camera, it's always collapsing 3D to 2D. And you have to appreciate how hard it is. It's mathematically ill-posed. So you have to, this is why humans and animals have multi-sensors. And then you have to solve that problem. And third, the world is not purely generative. Yes, we could generate virtual 3D world. It still has to obey physics and all that. But there is also a real world out there. You are now suddenly dialing between generation and reconstruction in a very fluid way. And the user behavior, the utility, the use cases are very different. If you dial all the way to generation, we can talk about gaming and metaverse and all that. If you dial all the way to real world, we're talking about robotics and all that. But all this is on a continuum of world modeling and spatial intelligence. So it's and of course, the elephant in the room is there's a lot of data on the internet for language. And where's the data for spatial intelligence? You know, it's all in our head, of course, but it's not as easily as accessible as language. So these are the reason it's so hard, but frankly, it excites me because if it's easy, somebody else has solved it. And my entire career is going after problems that are just so hard, bordering delusional. And I think this is the delusional problem. Thank you for supporting that.
And even thinking about this from first principles, the human brain has a lot more in the visual cortex and amount of neurons that process visual data as opposed to language. How does that translate into the model architectures? They're very different from LLMs, from what you're kind of finding out, right?
Yeah. That's actually a really good question. I mean, there's still different schools of thoughts out there, right? There is the LLM. A lot of what we see in LLM is really writing scaling law all the way to happy ending. And you can just brute force self-supervision all the way. constructive world model might be a little more nuanced. The world is more structured. There might be signals that we need to use to guide it. You can call it in a shape of prior, you can call it supervision in your data, whatever it is. I think that these are some of the open questions that we have to solve. But you're right. And also, if you think about human, first of all, we don't have all the answers even to human perception, right? How does 3D work in human vision is not a solved problem. We know mechanically the two eyes had to triangulate information. But even after that, where is the mathematical model? And we're not that great. Humans are not that great as 3D animals. So there's a lot that is to be answered. So we are definitely at World Lab. I'm just counting on really counting on one thing. I'm counting on we have the smartest people in the pixel world to solve this.
Is it fair to say that what you're building at World Labs is these whole new foundation models where the output are 3D worlds? And what are some of the applications that you're envisioning? Because I think you listed everything from perception to generation. So there's always this tension between generative models and discriminant models. So what would these 3D worlds do?
Yeah, so I'm not going to be able to talk too much about the details of World Labs per se, but in terms of spatial intelligence, that's what it also excites me. Just like language, the use case is so huge, from creation, which you can think about designers, architects, industrial designers, as well as just artists, 3D artists, game developers, from creation all the way to robotics, robotic learning. The utility of spatial intelligence model or world models is really, really big. So, and then there are many related industries, from marketing to entertainment to even metaverse. I'm actually really, really excited by metaverse. I know so many people are kind of still like, it's still not working. I know it's still not working. That's why I'm excited, because I think the convergence of hardware and software will be coming. So that's also another great use case down the road.
I'm personally very excited that you're solving metaverse. I gave it a try in my previous company, so I'm so excited that you're doing that now.
Yeah, well, I think there's more signal. I mean, I do think hardware is part of the hurdle, but you know, you need content creation. I mean, metaverse content creation needs world models.
Let's switch gears a little bit. So maybe to some of the audience, they might find your transition from going from academia to now being a founder CEO to be sudden, but you actually have the remarkable journey through your whole life. This is not your first time you've gone 0 to 1. You were telling me about how you immigrated to the US and you didn't speak any English in your teens, and you even ran a laundromat for a good number of years. Tell us about how all those skills shaped who you are now.
Right. I'm sure you guys are here trying to listen to how to start a laundromat. Yeah.
That was when you were 19, right?
Yeah, I was 19, and that was out of desperation. So I had no means of supporting my family, my parents, and I need to go to college to be a physics major at Princeton. So I started a dry cleaning shop. And in Silicon Valley language, I fundraised. I was the founder CEO. I was also the cashier and all the other things. And I exited. So after 7 years. So, all right, you guys are very kind. I've never got claps for my laundromat, but thank you. So, but anyway, I think Diana's point, especially to all of you, I look at you, I'm so excited for you, because you're like literally half my age, or even you know, maybe 30% of my age, and you're so talented. Just do it. Don't be afraid. You know, all my entire career, of course, I did laundromat, but even as a professor, I chose a couple of times, I chose to go to departments where I was the first computer vision professor. And that was against a lot of advice. You know, as a young professor, you should go to a place where there's a community and senior mentors. Of course, I would love to have senior mentors, but if they're not there, I still have to trailblaze my way, right? So I wasn't afraid of that. And then I did go to Google to learn a lot about business in Google Cloud and B2B and all those. And then I started a startup within Stanford because around 2018, AI was not only taking over the industry, AI became a human problem. Humanity will always advance our technology, but we cannot lose our humanity. And I really care about creating a beacon of light in the progress of AI and try to imagine how AI can be human-centered, how we can create AI to help humanity. So I went back to Stanford and created Human-Centered AI Institute and ran that as a startup for 5 years. Probably some people were not too happy I ran it as a startup for 5 years in a university, but I was very proud of that. So in a way, I think I just love being an entrepreneur. I love the feeling of ground zero, like standing on ground zero. Forget about what you have done in the past. Forget about what others think of you. Just hunker down and build. That is my comfort zone, and I just love that.
The other really cool thing about you, on top of all the awesome things you've done, you advise a lot of legendary researchers like Andrew Karpathy, Jim Fan, who's at NVIDIA, Jia Dang, who's your co-author for ImageNet. They all went on to have these incredible careers. What really stood out about them when they were students, like advice for the audience that you could tell, this person's gonna change the field of AI, and you could tell?
So first of all, I'm the lucky one. I think I owe more to my students than the other way around. They really make me a better person, better teacher, better researcher. And having worked with so many, like you said, legendary students, is really the honor of my life. So they're very, very different. Some of them are just pure scientists trying to hunker down and solve a scientific problem. Some of them are industrial leaders. Some of them are the greatest, disseminator of AI knowledge. But I think there is one thing that unifies them, and I would encourage every single one of them, of you, to think about this. I also, for those founders who are hiring, this is also my hiring criteria, is I look for intellectual fearlessness. I think it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what problem we're trying to solve. That courage, that fearlessness of embracing something hard and go about it and be all in and trying to solve that in however way you want is really a core characteristic of people who succeed. I learned this from them, and I really look for young people who have that, and then that as a CEO at World Labs, in my hiring, I look for that quality.
So you're hiring a lot for World Labs too. So you're looking for that same trait, right?
Yes, I get permission from Diana to say that we're hiring. So yes, so we are hiring a lot. We're hiring engineering talents. We're hiring product talents. We're hiring 3D talents. We're hiring generative model talents. So if you feel you're fearless and you're passionate about solving spatial intelligence, talk to me or come to our website.
Cool. We're going to open it up for questions for the next 10 minutes.